Hello and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to ERO F3 Season 4. This will be the first full season of F3. Finally, I was unfortunately unable to commentate last week due to being away, but I am back for this week, so it's all better. Thank you to whoever commentated last week. I think it was Coutinho, so thank you to him for commentating last week. And hopefully we get another great race here in Japan. So, we're just going to wait on the remaining drivers. We currently have 15 in the lobby, so hopefully we can get a full grid today if the other 5 join. Just going to have a look at who's missing. Where is it? F3, there we go. So we're currently missing Mate. I don't think he's joined yet. Mahi, Tokiewicz, Hamflash, but that looks like it. So still waiting on those 4 guys. Hopefully a couple of reserves can jump in if they don't turn up. So just gonna wait on what happens there. So of course Japan was actually near the back of the season last season for ERO. I think it was the second to last race. So it's going to be very strange to see it here as the second race of season 4. Honestly, not sure how this one's going to turn out. The F3 division's looking very different from last season. A lot of new faces in here that have not raced in previous seasons, which is good to see. The league is expanding and everything. Some of the guys from F3 last season have found their way into F2, so that's also good to see as they're progressing upwards, allowing space for these guys. If I quickly go have a look at the standings, I could be able to tell you what happened. Well, what happened last race. Standings. Where are they? Standings. F3. And I can't see them for some. Oh, there we go, it's loading. Okay, so the winner of last race was Flo, who is Giraffe Esport Flo in the Red Bull there. And then Jörn got P2, who's actually a reserve and I don't think is going to be here today. I don't see his name, so no. Third place was Kadir, who just have a quick look for his name if he's here. Says he's an Alfa Romeo driver. There he is, the Turkish driver. And fourth was Guir, who was actually an F2 driver last season. You may recognise the name. He's been around for a bit in the Alpha Tauri. Fifth was Kiemi, and sixth was Sunset Beach Bar, the 2 Renault drivers who are both here currently, and we're readying up. So looks like we're going to go with 15 drivers for today, unfortunately. So there's one Renault, there's the other Renault. Rounding out the top 10 with 7th, 8th, 9th and 10th was Redziak, Masiek, Goro and Kronk. Goro being a reserve, so I don't think he's going to be here today either. So that's the top 10 so far in the standings, but I'm sure a lot of these guys are going to be trying to shake that order up a bit, you know, get themselves in there, especially some of the drivers who failed to score last time out will be trying to get themselves into that top 10 drivers. Just waiting for a couple more to load here. And we will be underway for qualifying very soon. Here we are, 18 minutes, and qualifying has started. Who's going to be our first car on track, I wonder? Obviously they're just going to start, they're going to load setups, they're going to work out tyre strategy. It's looking dry, so it'll probably stay that way, at least for qualifying. And one of the racing points looks like they're going to be the first car out. Oh, no, it's going to be the Alfa Romeo who just gets out ahead. Very interesting there. It's going to be Kadir is going to be the first car to come out on track. Everyone, I'm sure, will be looking for the soft tyres here in qualifying. Very tight S section here, as you can see, just taking his time. A lot different from last year's games, where last year it was a lot more technical, whereas in this year's game it's a lot easier to keep your foot in. Still very difficult section, don't get me wrong, but it's definitely a lot faster than it was last year, and maybe a bit easier depending on your opinion of that first sector. Personally, I find it easier anyway. So we're just going to wait as Kadir will be the first person to complete their outlap and start a flying lap as we just come through the spoon curve. Very, very famous corner names here at Suzuka. Obviously you've got spoon curve, 130R, of course is flat left-hander which we're coming up to. Very famous. So you've got two Degners, the right-handers at the beginning of the middle sector. So a lot of recognisable features to this track, and hopefully it will provide some good racing for us today, as it has done many times in the past. As now Kadir will start his lap very fast out of the final chicane there, setting up the run down the straight straight. He's going to look to the left, he's going to brake at the end of that curve on the way into turn 1, keep tight. Didn't quite go as wide as I expected in the exit there, probably could have taken a bit more road, and lift to the first and before braking for the second, 5th gear through the middle parts of the S section, switching right, still keeping it in 5th gear. He's going to try and get as left as possible before coming up, get his foot down, he's going to shift mid-corner to keep the stability at the rear there, before heading down to the Degners, keep it in 7th, shift down once to 6th, and into the second Degner 3rd. He's not very aggressive through there, I've noticed, so he's probably losing a bit of time. I'm just going to adjust the audio here for you guys, because apparently the cars are quite loud. Let me know if that's any better. So coming out of spoon curve here onto the second longest straight, of course no DRS on this one because the end of this straight is the fast left-hander of 130R. 112.3 as he gets to the end of the middle sector, coming down to the final chicane, braking as late as he can just after the 100-metre board, very slidey through there, misses the second apex a bit, staying over to the right before switching to the left for the best run down to the line with the 129.0 there from the first lap of the session. And Gjemi goes just slower, but Sunset Beach Bar sets the provisional pole time with a 127.3, a whole 7/10 up on Christian, and Flo beats it again with a 127.2. So about a tenth up there on Sunset Beach Bar. Very impressive stuff from these drivers so far. I believe the next driver to cross the line will be Masiek, who does a 128.4. And after him it will be Monster Most, who goes third place with a 128.0 in that black liveried Mercedes. Next across the line will be the racing point, well, one of the racing points. It's an invalidated lap, so it will not count. And following him will be the Alpha Tauri of Rick as he comes through the final sector into the final couple of corners, running very low on battery power there. Is he going to have enough to complete his lap? Maybe just about. Very difficult to conserve ERS around this track in Japan as he does run out just before the line, but it's good enough for 5th place with the 28.0. Of course, lots of straights on this track, which does make ERS management quite difficult. So we just have cars slowing down, letting others through. Who will be next to set a lap? I think it might be Pratik, whose lap is invalidated, so no, he won't set a lap. Is it Yuppie? It is Yuppie. Let's see what he's able to do as he's invalidated his lap, so he's not able to do anything as he will pull into the pit. Goro getting in the way a bit there. Don't know what was going on there, but that is not how you go into the pits. Coming to the end of the lap is Mahi, and his lap is actually valid, unlike the other guys', so this will count. He's not used any of his ERS though, so maybe he's planning on going onto the medium tyre for his fastest lap in this session on a 34.3 as a slow lap, but of course not using ERS, I'm sure that's not the best he can do. So it looks like everyone who will set a lap early on in the session has done so for now. And as it stands, Flo is on provisional pole, only a tenth ahead of Sunset Beach Bar, who is then 7/10 up on the next car, Monster Most. Very tight between Monster Most, Christian and Rick, all within a tenth of one another, and Goro is not far behind either. A bit of a gap, 3/10 back to Masiek, who is again about half a second ahead of Kadir, who is very close with Xiemi. Only 5 thousandths of a second separate those two. 10th back to Alfam, and another 6/10 back to Kronk. Obviously Mahi with his slower lap, which probably isn't very representative as of now. Of course, as always, you guys down in the comments, make sure to leave your predictions. What's the podium going to be? Who do you think is going to get pole? All that kind of thing, just to get a bit of interaction going. And Mahi does improve his lap time to a 29.4, which puts him only P11. Redziak is on an invalid lap, so we will not focus on him. Oh, very tight in the middle here. Lots of cars and not a lot of space. And that there was a very aggressive move in qualifying. So interesting what's going on there. Whew. Let me just find the stream a second. YouTube. There we go. See what you guys are saying. Sunset for the win, says Houseman. Okay. Flo, Christian, Sunset, 1, 2, 3, says Coutinho. Very interesting. So he thinks Christian could improve his lap to get ahead of Sunset. Slow mode is on. Easy win for Sunset Beach Bar. Really, you think so? He's currently behind Flo as the McLaren gets all out of shape on the S section. Very aggressive stuff there. It's like I'm watching a race right now. Almost something like that. I will be focusing on these three guys who are yet to set a lap just for the moment, because it will be interesting to see where they slot in. Prof Fatigue has invalidated another lap, but Redziak and Yuppe are still valid and very close on track. Redziak just being ahead at the moment. On the run down to 130. Goro has retired at the entry to 130. Oh, it's not. Oh, is he under? I think he's under the bridge. Always confusing where the track overlaps itself a bit there, but I think he's actually under the bridge. As there's a car slow in the S section. Crossing the line, Redziak, what will he do? It's good enough for P12 or 129.9, and Yuppe with 132.6 is only good enough for P14. But now let's see, let's ride on board for a bit with Flo, who is just at the beginning of the middle sector on a flying lap. Let's see if they are able to improve their time, as I think just had to wait on the throttle a little bit because there were two cars and the exit of the hairpin a bit in his way. Watching F2 at the same time though. Yeah, me too. Yeah, wow. Okay. Don't know how that'll affect his lap, but cars everywhere on this track at the moment. It's a bit on the grass, that'll lose him some time as he comes to 130. Sunset Beach Bar is now on an out lap. Into the final chicane we go. Not very much DRS left. That's a better line through there. We come into the pits. His lap, he doesn't complete his lap. That's a stupid move. Yeah. As Kadir is going very slow, so I don't think this lap will count. I hope he doesn't finish it, because it's not going to be a fast one. But Monster Most, just looking at him now, let's see if he's able to improve. I think he has already improved, actually, because I think he was behind Christian just now, or maybe I'm just being silly. I think it's Kadir who's actually done a better lap with a 127.8 there. This is why you pay attention, guys. Don't be like me. Oh. Very nice to see so far though. There's quite a tight spread across some of the guys in the field here, so it will be interesting to see if this carries over for the rest of qualifying and into the race, because we do like to see a close race, don't we? Well, I hope you like to see a close race. If you don't, there's something wrong with you, but not the point. So coming through 130R with Monster Most and down into the hairpin. Yeah, he's got very little ERS left, and that's a big lock up into the chicane. So he will probably not complete this lap. Yeah, he dives straight into the pits. However, someone who is on a lap now is Sunset Beach Bar. Coming out of the first and second corner into the third. Very brave through there. Taking 6th instead of 5th through this section, and now down into 5th. Shifting gears a lot more than the other people earlier. Choosing to go 6th through there, and he's just sliding, lost the back end. That will cost him a lot of time through there, unfortunately for the Renault driver. Ooh. That is very easily done in 2020 through that section. A lot of people choose to actually keep 5th on the limiter and then shift to 6th mid-corner to stop that rear end from sliding, but didn't quite work out that way for Sunset Beach Bar this time round. Rick starting a lap as well, just coming out of turn 2. What kind of a name is Giraffe? What a king, honestly. We just call him Flo. Can't imagine why. So, just coming to the end of the first sector. He's a 10th and a half up on his time. So good stuff from him so far. Is looking to jump a few positions here. Obviously it's quite close between these guys up at the front. Well, I'd say from 3rd to 8th is quite close, tightly spread. So a small gain could be a lot of positions by the end of the session. Flo sucks Verta better to call it G. That's his name in the Discord, mate. It's Flo, so that's what I'm going to call him. As we come to the chicane with Rick, as Alfam has retired from the session, staying over to the left to get the best run down to the line, and that is an improvement up into third place, half a second improvement for a 1:27.5, putting him only 3/10 off of the fastest time in the session. Rick going P1, unfortunately not, Loki. Typo. Typo. Nice. Let's see who we can ride on board. I think Christian is on a flying lap, so let's ride on board with him for now. Flo is also currently on a flying lap. Let's see where he is on track. He is quite a bit further ahead on track, so we will watch the end of his lap and switch over to Christian in a second. Coming up to the left-hander of 130R. Very nice. Down into the chicane. Third gear. Stays in third. Up to fourth. Short shift for that extra power on exit. Sticking to the right in this case. Does run out of ERS before the line, but still improves by 4/10 of a second to get the first 126 of the session. A 126.8. And with the time left, I think that will be his final lap. So we'll switch over to Christian, who's on the run up to Spoon at the moment. ERS is looking quite low, and I think he's backed out of his lap by the looks of it. Yeah, this isn't a fast lap, he's backed out. So let's see what Rick's diving into the pits. There's Sunset Beach. Nowhere interesting. Monster Most, however, is coming up to Spoon. Funny, we seem to catch everyone through here. Don't know what it is, but obviously it's quite convenient to see the last sector of the lap. You know you're not going to miss the end. So long straight down here. A lot of the guys I feel, 4.5 tenths up. This could be a very good lap by the time we get to the end of it. But I feel like a lot of the guys would definitely be running a lot lower downforce setups to help them on those straights, and just hope that they can hold on in the corners. Running out of VRS before the line yet again, and it's an improvement of 6/10, let's say. So he sets a 1:27.444. Is good enough for third place in this session so far, and he's spun. And he's lost his front wing. And he's reset to track. Interesting. Yeah, he's done it on stream, so he can't even say he didn't do it. Oh well. More interesting things going on with Sunset Beach Bar as he comes out of the hairpin. And again, on the run up to Spoon. What's going on? Sir. It's quality, it's okay, cool. Seems to be catching everyone on the run up to Spoon. Oh well. Not complaining. Monster Most has retired from the session, not surprised. He didn't really have time to set another lap. 3/10 down on his time is Sunset. So I don't think it's going to be an improvement here. Race incident, clearly. Yeah. I'm going to just watch the start in the lobby, and then I'll leave to look for people. Woutinho. Okay. That's cool, Woutinho, and Sunset Beach Bar does not improve. However, it is looking that he will be safe for P2 on the grid anyway, which I'm sure he'll be happy with. Front row is always nice, and I believe second place is on the inside line for turn 1, isn't they? So that could work to his advantage if he gets a good start. Kadir at the moment is on a flying lap coming into the hairpin. Very tidy from him through there. Climbing the gears up towards Spoon. How many times have I said that today? Take a shot every time I do. As Shemi crosses the line to not improve his position, and that will be his final lap of the session. End of the session now, so this will be the final lap for all of these guys. If they are able to improve, it will hopefully be a fair few positions that they gain, because it's still quite tight from a lot of these guys here. So Kadir just coming through the final corner, staying to the left. does not improve. Right, he improves his time, does not improve his position, unfortunately for him. Let's see what Masiek's doing. He's slowing down on the run up to Spoon. Mahi is pitting. What's Pratik doing? Pratik, the only person who is able to improve their time right now, crosses the line and goes P11 with a 129.0. So that will be the grid for today's race, as we just wait for Rick. Where is the rain? I don't know. I want some rain. I like rain. Rain always makes it interesting. Do a rain dance one, see what happens. As we wait for Rick, hopefully we don't have to wait the whole minute, because I know that's still a glitch in the game as well. Ah, Cody's fix your game, guys. Rick looks like he's going to finish his lap here. He is 1.5 seconds down, so I hope he just crosses the line instead of going into the pits, to be completely honest with you. Please don't do this. He does, he's going to cross the line, thank God. That saved some time. And final person to cross the line, he will be P4 on the grid, second row at the start of the race. Now we just wait to see if... I think it's only 20 seconds, but I think the glitch has happened. Unfortunately, love to see it. Very, very good game here. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. There we go. So, just waiting on the standings to see our order for the race. So on pole there was Flo with a 126.8. 5 cents back from him was Sunset Beach Bar, a huge gap in qualifying, half a second. Third place Monster Most, fourth Rick, fifth Christian, sixth Kadir, 7 Goro, 8 Kjemi, 9 Masiek, 10 Yuppe, 11 Pratik, 12 Alfam, I'm never going to be able to say that name, 13 Mahi, 14 Redziak, and 15 Kronk. And that is the order for the start of this race, which will be happening in a second. And we're just going to wait for players, just going to have to wait until the formation lap starts, but obviously these guys are going to get all of their strategies and fuel loads and stuff sorted for the race. We have a maximum wait of 24 seconds, which is nice. Where's my volume button? Volume up. Oh, he's in the lead. Nice. 3, 2, 1, and we should be off for our formation lap once everyone's connected. There we go. Oh, I get to see the lights this time around. That's the first time I think I've actually been able to see them on a formation lap. Strange start there. Some people not going as soon as the people behind them would like. But let's see what tyres everyone is on. Tyre. So everyone, 14 out of the 15 drivers are starting on softs, with the only exception being Alfam in P12 as Yuppe and Pratik disqualified from the formation lap. Love to see it. So yeah, Alfam being the only person on the medium tyre, which will be very interesting to see how that works out for him in this race. He's probably going to go for a one stop if you ask me, but obviously early safety cars can ruin any strategy and often do, so we'll have to see on that one. Giraffe, Flo, current championship leader on pole position. He will be looking to get a good start so that he has the best chance to defend that championship lead, but Sunset Beach Bar will definitely be trying to ruin his party today, because it is a very difficult track to overtake here in Suzuka. No rain. Yeah, I wanted rain too. That would have made things really interesting, wouldn't it? But anyway, coming towards the end of our formation lap, some Monster Most looking like he's holding up the pack a bit. Same with Masiek, just trying to get the guys in front to cool down their tyres, if you're the kind of person that believes that works. Don't know. And here we are, getting ready for the start of the race. Predicted tyre stop strategy, there you go. Softs to hards 1 stop, or soft medium for the 2 stop. I guess you could also do medium to hards, or medium soft, or soft medium soft, depending on what you want to do. So I appreciate the effort being put in to have that graphic there, but honestly I hate it. And apparently the lights are coming on, can't see them because we're still on board with Flo here, not the view I'd have hoped for at the start, and we are away. Looking like a decent start there from Flo, but he's been overtaken by Sunset Beach Bar, who gets a much better start. Wheel spin in the second phase there for Flo, and he drops to 3rd place already. Monster Most up into 2nd. Flo's having a look around the outside of the 3rd corner there, and he does. He goes clean around the outside of the 3rd corner. Very nice move there, but he has already dropped our whole 2nd to our current leader, Sunset Beach Bar. Craziness going down in the midfield here. Cars are everywhere, and that's a move. Someone was looking for a move. As we head down, the McLaren is looking on the inside. Very close, nearly touched. The Renault goes way off the track, and now the Ferrari's off the track. Contact everywhere, and how the hell has no one retired? That was crazy. And now the Racing Point's on the inside. That's more contact. Bit of a side pod glitch, I think. Still looking to the outside of the Ferrari there. Very aggressive start from all of these guys, if I'm being completely honest. Did not quite expect that. Just looking through the order to see if any of these guys have got damage. Doesn't look like they do, so very lucky at the start of this race, a lot of these guys. But now the Renault of Kjemi is looking at Yuppe into the chicane. He's not quite close enough to make a move this time round. Obviously no DRS just yet, as there's a yellow flag for someone. Ah, it's the glitch. I hate this glitch, honestly. What is going on? We have Pratik, Alfam and Redziak in the pits, so they obviously had some kind of damage, as Sunset Beach Bar loses it through the S section, and he's going to drop positions, and Flo retakes the lead of the race. So unfortunate there, especially under yellow flags, as Pratik has retired from the session. Redziak finally coming out of the pits. Now Flo has a pretty significant lead in this race, I think, as Rick is lagging a lot, which is not going to be very helpful. Blue flag's out already. Who's that for? I don't know. Apparently there's blue flags. Let's have a look as we see the predicted pit strategy again for the 3rd time in 2 laps. I'm pretty sure it's lying to us, as there is a stopped Red Bull in the first sector. That's going to be Redziak. I feel like he's going to have an early end to his race as well. Still quite close here. Obviously Flo is getting away in the lead quite easily after Sunset Beach Bar's mistake. Is Sunset going to pit? He's not going to pit, so he does not have any damage, as we see the predicted tyre strategy for the 4th time in 3 laps. Love to see it. So Monster Most at the head of this small train here. Well, I say small train, it's about 6 cars long. so it's not so small. But at the head of this train, had a good start. He got to get himself up into second. Flo did get back at him though, but he has held second, and he's locked up into the second deck now. He's gone way off the track, allowing Rick, Kadir, and he's into the wall. Is he out? No, he's still going. So crazy start here from these guys as he's dropping all the way back to 11th place. Could be 12th by the time we get down to the hairpin. No, he's just about ahead, I think. He does have damage though, so very unfortunate for him. No one wants to get a podium here by the looks of it. Spinella time. It did work. It really did work. Wow. As now we have a move of Kadir looking to the inside. The Haas of Christian go way wide at 130R, but he's still going to put his nose in there. Down the inside of the chicane, he's made the move stick into the final couple of corners there. Christian has gotten ahead, but the move's not finished yet. There's a better run for Kadir down the straight. DRS is open. Very aggressive movement there for the Haas driver. Who's going to get down into turn 1 fast? Who's going to be braver on the brakes? Oh, he's gone wide. Christian has gone very wide there. Was there contact? I don't know. He's definitely contact there. He's been pushed wide yet again. Drops back to 5th place behind Kadir and Goro. As what's Redziak up to? I don't like the look of this. Oh, he's got damage. Okay. As Monster Most has pitted from wherever he was in this race. Sunset Beach Bar, interesting to note, is back on the back of this train. So did well to recover so quickly as someone else is locked up into there, not in the gravel this time round, and down the inside goes Sunset Beach Bar. Is the move going to work? Very late on the brakes, good on exit, squeezes Christian just a little bit, but the move is completed and he moves himself up into P5 as he goes on his recovery drive in this race after the early spin. Very nice, and that's someone off. Who's that off? It's Rick. Rick has gone off at Spoon and drops himself down to 6th place. It's another position for all of these guys. So it's now Kadir in 2nd, Goro in 3rd, and Sunset Beach Bar in 4th, but not for long as they make contact through 130. He's all out of shape and they've made contact again. Piling off into the wall, and Sunset Beach Bar is out of the race. The virtual safety car is out because of that crash. That was huge crash from Sunset Beach Bar. Very unfortunate from him. Wow, that was incredible. Wow, and Redziak has retired. So we have now had 3 retirements from this race as the pit lane is about to get filled with all of the cars coming in for the hard tyres, I would assume. As Kronk decides not to pit. And Flo was not able to pit. He was already past the pit entry when the virtual safety car came out. Now what's that going to do for strategy? And Kadir has also not gone into the pits. Very interesting to see how this is going to play out as all of these drivers changing their tyres early on in the race. Some of them are going to look to go to the end, I'm sure, after that huge crash between Sunset Beach Bar and Christian. That's ooh, drive-through penalty for speeding under the VSC. Wow, DRS is enabled and the virtual safety car is finished. We have yellows in sector 1. It's one of the McLarens. It's Yuppe. Yuppe is round on his cold tyres. Wow. This is definitely an incident-packed race so far as he's gone again. Just up on the curb, he's coming back across the track. Luckily he ghosts. No contact made. Very unfortunate for Yuppe. He's now down in 11th place in this race. And now no one's close to each other after all that. Great. As there is actually a slow Mahi in the middle. Press the wrong button. Mahi is also slow in the S section. He's also had a moment. But he is back going again. Just about catches it. Luckily for him. Sunset Beach Bar leaves after his big crash. Monster Most is close on the back of Masiek here in the Ferrari. There's Christian, 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. He is pitted again, probably for the damage that he received in the crash with Sunset Beach Bar. He's going to drop a lot of positions here as Masiek goes into the pits. These guys are not liking the hard tyres by the looks of it. What's he changing onto? Softs. And he's changing his front wing. Interesting. Maybe contact between Masiek and Christian then? Who crashed? Sunset Beach Bar crash. And that's Goro coming up on the back of Kajemi now. Gap is 1 second, but he's closing it all the time. He should be within that 1 second gap by the time we get to the next DRS zone, which of course is the main straight. Bruh. Okay. Now 0.6 of a second. He's rapidly closing on those soft tyres. Kajemi ahead on mediums, which will explain the pace difference here. Oof, that was a strange line. Not sure what was going on there, but through 130R we go. The gap is still 0.6 of a second, and he will be close enough for DRS in this next straight as a 3-second time penalty for Mahi for multiple warnings. That will be for track limits. Fastest lap of the race for Goro. He is a man on the charge. Closing in, he looks to the inside of turn 1. No defensive move there from the Renault driver, and it's going to be a clean move down the inside, but there's a switch back from the Renault. Not quite working out for him, so Goro is ahead and can now set his sights on Kronk, who is 3.5 seconds down the road at the moment, as Alfam gets a 3-second time penalty as well. Lots of penalties so far in this race. We're only 7 laps in, bear in mind. Flo is a long way behind Kadir. I think Flo might have pitted for fresh soft tyres. Interesting. Kadir has stayed out on his softs though. Very interesting to see what Kadir is up to. What is he going to try and do with the tyre strategy in this race? As he doesn't pit this lap either. Gap 11 seconds back to Flo. Monster Most closing in on Christian now. Within DRS at the moment. To come through Spoon Curve and up the run towards 130R. Flo is in the pits. What's going on? Has he got damage? And Goro has followed him in. Is it a drive-through? I think that's a drive-through penalty for Flo. It doesn't look like he's changed tyres. They don't look very shiny. Actually, they do kind of look shiny. Slow-mo, just like the hard strategy. Yeah, and the ERO server. Didn't say anything. You didn't hear that. So Flo drops down to 4th after... I think he's taken a drive-through and a pit stop now, which is why he's so far behind Kadir. I'm a bit confused, but should make for some interesting racing later on, as we now have Kajemi closing back up on Kronk. Let's see what he's able to do. He has a small look on the run down to 1/3 to Spoon. Oh, and he's run straight in the back. He was much faster through there than the racing point. I don't think he's got any damage, but he pretty sure there was contact there between the two drivers. The gap 0.6 of a second as they fly through 130R, and Moutinho leaves the session to go do some recruiting. He's staying on the stream. Okay. Very close now. DRS will open as they come through this corner. It does there. Pit window is now open for the one-stop strategy. The soft tyres can go to the end of the race from... I don't believe that, as a fairly easy move down the inside with DRS for Kajemi. Okay, bye Juan. Yeah, very easy move from there, but it said the pit window open for softs. I don't believe the game there is there's a yellow flag, and it is Monster Most has had a spin. Very unfortunate for him. Drops him down to 8th place on the hard tyre, and he has damage. Does have damage, so he will probably pit to replace that. Not been a great race for him so far. Very interestingly though, Giraffe Flo has caught up to Kronk not long after Kajemi overtook him. In fact, Kronk has dropped 2.5 seconds back from Kajemi in one lap. I think there's probably been either a mistake or some kind of incident between those two, because that's a lot of time to lose. 3 seconds now in one lap has put Flo right on the back of him. So Flo looking to make his way back onto the podium in this race. Taking a lot of grass there at 130R. Down into the chicane they come. Very close there, a bit of contact I think, as Kronk peels into the pits, releasing Flo and still giving him DRS as they come down the straight. He now has 3 seconds to make up to Kajemi, who you can see going into turn 3 now. Kronk in the pits will drop down a long way, I think to P7, and we'll have a lot of work to do from there. I'm a bit confused on who's on what strategy now. It's been a bit crazy. But Kadir is quite comfortable leading 4 seconds ahead of Kajemi right now. However, Kajemi is on a charge, as is Flo, with a purple first sector already closing 8/10 on the car ahead. So that Renault not looking quite as fast as the Red Bull here today. 8/10 in one sector, that's crazy. A second already as they come on the run to Spoon. Kajemi's got a lot of work to do if he wants to keep this Red Bull behind. This Red Bull is charging. As he now breaks into the 2 seconds, it's 1.7 is the gap. You can see the Renault in his sights ahead of him. Coming into the chicane, there's a lot of black marks there from where people have been locking up. And that's a 3-second time penalty for Flo as he cuts the second part of the chicane. Stays over to the right for the best run down, and that is the fastest lap of the race, a 1:29.9 for Flo there, as he now has 1.5 seconds to the car ahead. Gained a 1.5 on that lap, and I think in the distance that is Kadir, you can see going through the S's. It is Kadir, you can see through it going through the S's. So he has the lead back in his sights as Alfam goes into the pits. Choosing 6th gear through that long left-hander is Flo. Very nicely through there, not taking the curbs too aggressively, keeping it nice and tidy. He's now within that 1 second gap he needs to Kajemi, so the next time round he will get DRS. And Kajemi, after all that work getting up into second place, is about to lose second place, I feel. However, he is catching Kadir ahead, just not quite at the pace that Flo is catching him. 5/10 is the gap now, as he's had a lot better run off of Spoon, as Yuppie gets a 3-second time penalty. Fiddling with his overtake mode, I think there, as he's looking to the outside into the chicane. Kajemi cuts it off, but he switches to the inside, dives it down the inside of the chicane, and that is the move completed before the second half of the chicane. Fully ahead, and will he get DRS now? He does, he gets DRS as well, so he made the move just after the detection point. Very smart from him there, as he is already a second ahead of Kajemi after just 2 corners. He makes a mistake and he's gone round into the wall at the S section. It's a big mistake from our pole sitter there. Wow, did not expect that, and all that work that he's had to do, he's got to do it again as he drops 5 seconds behind Kajemi now. Huge mistake through the S section, but that just shows how easy it is to make a mistake there. Even the fastest man in qualifying and probably the fastest man in this race so far, has done it, as Mahi receives a 3-second time penalty. It looks like he's got away with little to no damage. Luckily for him, he did hit the wall side on, so he will be hoping to get the gap back down fairly quickly. He was, of course, a second and a half a lap quicker. He does, I literally don't know how he didn't get damage from that. He must have hit the wall perfectly side on to have not received damage from that. That is so strange. The gap is back down to just under 5 seconds. Not quite catching at the same rate he was before. Maybe a bit of frustration for the Red Bull driver in the cockpit there. Of course, after making a mistake like that, I wouldn't blame him, but he's got to get his head back together if he wants to charge on ahead and re-catch the Renault of Kajemi, who is very slowly closing the gap to Kadir. I don't know if he's closing it by enough though. Much cleaner through that section this time around for the Red Bull driver. Let's see, Yuppie on the back of Kronk now as they come down the straight. He has DRS open. Not quite gaining enough to make a move into turn 1. Gap 4/10. He has a much tighter line through turn 2 though. Maybe a better exit by the looks of it. Yeah, much faster there, and there's a slightly wide moment for the Racing Point. I almost thought that Yuppie was going to send it down the inside. Thinks better of it though. As he follows him through this S section. Dirty air through there is horrible. Lots of understeer that will lose you time as you move through. Here he's looking much faster at this point in time than the Racing Point ahead of him. He's already looking to the inside, is on the run up to the hairpin. Is he going to switch? He decides to stay behind, nearly makes contact there, pushing him through the hairpin a bit there. As there is yellow flags ahead from Monster Most, who's made a mistake, and these two who are battling will catch up to him now. Now that will probably help Kronk to defend from Yuppie, as he might get some DRS from Monster Most ahead. However, that is yet to be seen, as he's still just outside of the DRS range. Can he get inside by the time they get to the detection point? I doubt it. It's not looking likely. No, he wasn't able to do it, meaning that he will not have DRS to defend from Yuppie. As Yuppie's down the inside of the chicane anyway, as the Racing Point made a mistake, and that's a clean move around the outside of the final corner, and he gets DRS to pull away from him on this straight. Very unlucky there for the Racing Point driver to make a mistake there, but very nice, quick thinking there from Yuppie in the McLaren to send it once he saw that the mistake had been made. Flo back to under 3 seconds behind Kajemi, very rapidly catching, as Kajemi is now catching Kadir by a lot. I don't know if there was a mistake for Kadir on the last lap, but he has dropped about a second to Kajemi. 2.4 is the gap now, and the gap back to Flo is 2.8. So a very nice battle forming here, as these three cars will merge on each other in the next couple of laps if they keep up this way. Under 2 seconds now, and no longer, to Kadir ahead as Flo pits. He's into the pits. 5-second penalty for speeding into the pits as well. He's putting on the medium tyre for his second mandatory stop in this race, because of course he used soft tyres for both his previous stints. Now, are we going to see a charge here from Flo on the medium tyre? And what's Kajemi going to be able to say about it? Is Kajemi going to the end? What about Kadir? Kadir is definitely going to the end on those hard tyres, 100%. Kajemi just starting to gain on Kadir a bit now with his medium tyres coming into play as the hards are wearing out a bit. You can see him right ahead there. It's going to be close in the next couple of laps to see who is going to win this race. Flo has got a lot of time to make up on those medium tyres. I think he's going to struggle. 7 seconds behind Rick at the moment is possible, and then 2 seconds to Christian, but the 14 seconds that Christian is behind Kajemi could be a bit too much for the drivers today. So I think it's a 1v1 for the lead in the rest of this race, and fingers crossed, touch wood, nothing else bad happens to these drivers, as we've seen a lot of drivers make mistakes so far in this race, which has caused a lot of issues, as Alfam has made a mistake. A spun at the S section on those hard tyres, and Yupei's through on Monster Most. Yupei made a move on Monster Most at the hairpin by the looks of it, maybe on the exit, as that Ferrari gets moving again. Monster Most goes quite wide. This might create an opening for Goro. Goro straight down the inside. There was a bit of contact, but very nice racing from those two, as Alfam has retired from the race. Very nice driving there from Goro to get down, sneak down the inside after the mistake Monster Most made, and just about keep it clean. There was contact, but fair racing in my opinion. Carry on. And now he's going to have, Goro's going to have a look at Yupei with DRS open. He could make 2 overtakes in the space of half a lap here, and he's down the inside easy on the McLaren driver. Another McLaren driver might lose another place to Monster Most, and no, there's contact. Monster Most getting all out of shape on exit, and he's lost some front wing yet again in this race, as I think that was a bit too opportunistic from the Mercedes driver there this time round. He'll probably have to pit to repair that. Unfortunately for him, 1.8 is still the gap between Kadir and Kajemi. It's not come down at all in the last couple of laps. And Rick is catching Christian though, as Flo, as you would expect, is closing the gap quite rapidly to the cars ahead. Could be a nice convergence come the next 5 laps, and we could be on for a very exciting finish if things continue in this direction, or you'd at least hope so. Now let's see, Yupei already dropping back to 1.6 behind. However, Christian is under threat from Rick now, who has DRS open on the run down to the first turn. Is he going to go for a move? Looks to the inside and thinks better of it. Definitely no space for him there. He's going to have to wait until the next overtaking opportunity, which just depends on how opportunistic he's going to be. He's going to have no chance. He's going to have to just follow behind through this S section, keep as close as possible, let the dirty air affect him just as little as he can possibly get through the Degnas. Not really a traditional overtaking place, and definitely not from this far back, 9/10. On the run up to the hairpin, this is where he's going to try and gain his time. On the exit of the hairpin, on the run down to Spoon, one of the most crucial traction zones on the entire track. If you can get this right, you'll be on for a good chance for a move after 130R into the chicane, or even on the main straight. Not really an overtaking this Spoon. It's a very risky place to overtake, as Vettel proved to us in 2018 when he tried to move on Verstappen. Here we go. Traction is looking good for Rick down this straight. He's closing. Can he get under a second by the time they reach the DRS zone? Yes, I think he did. I think he just got it in the braking zone. Let's see, does that flap open as he crosses the DRS line? It does. He did just get inside that required gap. He's now going to gain and gain all the way down the straight back to 3/10. And again, not enough to make the move down into turn 1. So he's going to have to sit behind for another lap and just hope he doesn't lose as much time this lap as he did last lap. And that very nice looking AlphaTauri. All this time, of course, if these two start fighting, that will only allow Flo to catch up quicker. As you can see, Flo just coming into the background there, 3 seconds behind Rick. And Kajemi again has made a lot of gains on Kadir. 1.2 is now the gap, 1.3 the gap is to the leader. A lot of the drivers are taking a little bit of grass on the entry to the hairpin there. Very interesting line. I know that they're just trying to keep tight, but not sure if it's the best play to be on the grass there. And again, Rick has found himself just over a second behind Christian. But if he gets a better exit off Spoon, he could hope to get back in DRS? It's not looking likely, is it? As I think Christian will be using a bit of ERS, sorry. And yeah, he's not made it this time round. He's unable to get within the required gap. He will not have DRS for this lap, which will be worrying as he dives into the pits anyway, for what I'm assuming will be a set of soft tyres. So now the focus in this race will be on if Flo can catch Christian fast enough. 3 seconds is the gap coming into lap 19. Keep an eye on that, as Kajemi ahead has lost a bit of time to Kadir, which is very strange considering the compound difference. Maybe those medium tyres are starting to wear out a bit, which will not be good news for the Renault driver at all. You can see how close they are though on track as he slides through the hairpin. Just about catches it. He's going quite slow. Is something wrong? I don't see anything wrong. See if we can spot something from on board. No, he just had a bad exit by the looks of it. Monster Most with the fastest lap of 129.8. So all that hard work is undone a bit for Kajemi after that mistake. 1.3 is another gap. A lot of the drivers choosing to take grass there. So he runs very wide there. That would definitely be a warning for track limits. Of course, he does still have 8 laps left in this race. As he dives into the pits, Kajemi has decided to pit for what I think will be a set of soft tyres. So if Christian is on the hard tyres, this will allow Christian to get up into P2 in this race. And this could be looking very good for Flo behind. Flo 1.2 behind Christian at the moment. Has moved his way up onto the podium after his mistake early in the race and his other mistake at the beginning. I think he's got a puncture, or is that just weird? I think he's just being weird. The lighting on the tyre looks a bit weird there. But he's inside of that 1 second gap he needs now. So this will be his opportunity to get into second place. Once he gets round to the DRS zone, of course, I'm sure he won't want to hang around. Into the hairpin. A very nice exit, gaining a lot of time on the run up to Spoon. There's yellow flags for Kronk. Kronk was going slowly there in the first sector, and I think Mahi's catching quite fast after that mistake. It won't be enough though. The gap is still 2 seconds between the two drivers as Flo gets through on the exit of Spoon on the run up to 130 up, but this will mean that Christian will have DRS on the run down to the first turn. Is that a mistake from Flo? Should he have been a bit more patient and waited? As the DRS will now open on the Haas car, and Flo's already gone defensive to the inside, trying to break that toe. And he's not close enough. Nowhere near close enough. Losing time all the time to Flo. Very nice driving there from Flo. But in the remaining 6 laps, I don't think he's going to be able to get the 15 seconds as Juppé has made a mistake. Juppé has spun at the final chicane, dropping him to 7th place. Very unlucky from the McLaren driver here today. He was driving a fairly decent race up until now. I'm sure he will be disappointed after that. Christian with a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. That will not help him at all in his defence against Kajemi. Kajemi, who is only 4.2 seconds behind already after his pit stop. Kajemi's hungry for that podium. He's definitely going to be going for it as we ride on board with Juppé through the top part of the S section. 4 seconds is now the gap to Christian for Kajemi. Don't know if he made another mistake there, but those soft tyres should be working well for him. If he can get within that 3-second gap needed, he will get the position on the line. As we come through, 3.8 is the gap as we come through the final chicane. 3.9, 3.8, 3.7. It's coming down very rapidly. Christian seems quite weak on the exit of that corner, probably due to those harder compound tyres he has on. The gap is already down to 13.5 between the leader and Yuppie's got past Rick at 130R by the looks of it, so very nice from him there to make a move there. Don't know what happened to Rick. Rick must have made a mistake somewhere. But 12.7, 12.8 is now the gap between Flo and Kadir. Very fast laps coming in here for the Red Bull driver, as we have Masiek making another mistake up at Spoon. It's been quite comfortable so far for Kadir. He's spent a lot of the time on his own. He's been being caught and then not being caught anymore. But he's once again in a position where he is being caught very rapidly by Flo. 12 seconds is now the gap between them. If he keeps it up, it will be very close at the end, but I'm not sure he's going to have enough in him to make the move. Yuppie under pressure now from Rick. He hasn't quite been able to drop him after making the move earlier on. Let's see how this one unfolds. 6/10 between them. Oh, bit of grass there for Yuppie. That won't help him on the run into Spoon, as he very nearly runs wide, taking just about as much as he could get away with in terms of track limits there. Looks like Rick's had a better exit. He's climbing the hill towards 130R. He looks to the inside. He's not going to make a move just yet. And now coming into the chicane, he's looking to the outside. Who's going to brake later? It looks like Yuppie's braked later, but he's gone quite deep into there, allowing Rick to have a better exit round the outside of the final corner. He's going to have DRS, and that's going to be a clean move ahead of Yuppie there. Great battle between these two so far in this race, as they've been trading positions for the last couple of laps. Nice move there from the Alpha Tauri. Coming back on board, Kajemi's losing time to Christian. I say losing, he's not. He's just not gaining as much as he was before, I guess. 3.1 is now the gap between those two drivers. But I'm sure Kajemi would rather do it on track than get the win, than get the podium through penalties. As there's a Monster Most has made another mistake at the S's. Has he got damage again? He does not. But that is another mistake from Monster Most in the same part of the track as before. A very horrible race from him today. 3 laps left in this session, and Monster Most gets a 3-second time penalty for extra measure. 2.6 is the gap between Kajemi and Christian. I am not going to check penalties because I don't want to spoil the finish. So Kajemi closing in on the car ahead all the time, edging closer and closer and closer as they go on. 2.3 is now the gap as Yuppie receives 3-second time penalty, and that will effectively end his battle with Rick, as he is already dropped to 2 seconds behind the Alpha Tauri driver. Kajemi now able to see the Haas ahead of him, reeling in the gap as they go along. 2.3 is the gap. Is he going to be able to close that gap within the next 3 laps? Well, he will hope that he can. Although on this lap it's been looking very even between the two drivers, so I'm not sure. The gap out front is down to 10 seconds now. Flo has been closing very fast, but I don't think with the 3 laps remaining that he's going to be able to close 10 seconds. So I think that he will have to settle for P2 in this race as it stands. This is the real fight. P3. This is where the action's at. And it might not seem at the moment because there's not much battling, but this is for a podium. Who's going to get it? The Renault of Kajemi or the Haas of Christian? Guys in the comments, tell me what you think as we move on to lap 25. Gap has been closed down to 1.8 now, under that 2 seconds. As Mahi receives another 3-second time penalty. running in P8 at the moment. He could find himself in a bit of trouble if he accumulates too many of those penalties. Kronk is behind him by 4 seconds. Oh, and there's a spin. Kajemi is round. He touched the grass on the exit of the S's and he's round. Do you think he's got damage as well? No, he doesn't look like he does have any damage. But that will destroy his chances at getting P3 in this race. And Goro's coming through. Goro on the outside of the first Degner. He's made it. Kajemi's dropped down into P5. Goro up into P4 in this race. Wow. How many mistakes have we seen through there today? But that has got to be one of the most crucial mistakes of the race. Very unfortunate from Kajemi there. And that kills our fun for the last 2 laps of this race, I think. Unless Kajemi can re-catch Goro. I don't know Goro's penalties. So, yeah. I don't know if Goro has any penalties. If he does, then I'm sure Kajemi will be trying to get that P4 back from him, as the gap is just under 3 seconds. Wow, yellow flags again. It's Monster Most again making a mistake. And that will allow Masiek to actually close up to him a bit. 3 seconds between those 2 drivers, and it's coming down as they run up towards Spoon. It would be interesting to see how those 2 stand at the end of this race for the final point. 4 seconds is the gap between Goro and Kajemi. I think Goro has the pace over the Renault driver at the moment. So, what is going to happen at the end here? Is there going to be another upset, or are we on for a boring finish? Let's hope we're not. A lap and a bit to go as your leader is just coming through the final chicane. Let's ride on board with him for the final lap of this race as he comes over, steering to the left to move on to lap 27 of 27. Long run down into turn 1. You can see his D rating already. 4-5% ERS left at the end of this race. Through turn 2, very clean, just touches the curb on the exit, sweeping into the left-hander and back over to the right. The first part of the S's, 5th gear through the middle part of the S's, does a small shift down into 4th but back up into 5th, staying right to switch over to the left, keeping the rear stable by shifting up into 6th on exit, moving down towards the first Degner. Take as much inside curb as you can. Doesn't quite take as much outside curb as you would have thought, but he's very tidy through the second Degner, just touching the curb on the inside and outside. Down into the hairpin, 2nd gear, short shifting up into 3rd on exit to get that extra pace, as he actually short shifts up into 4th as well, sorry. A bit of overtake on exit. Moving his way down into Spoon. Just touching the outside curb, switching across to apex the second, and running quite conservatively on the exit there. You would expect most drivers to run a little bit wider than that. Through 130R now, flat out of course. He's using his ERS through there. He has 0% ERS left, and he's forgotten to turn it off for the end of the race, but I don't think he cares, because he comes over to the right hand side of the track to take the checkered flag and win the Japanese Grand Prix for ERO F3. 7 seconds behind him was Flo, and after penalties is 14.9 seconds behind. Christian will come through to take P3 in this race, another 10 seconds behind Giraffe. Unfortunately for him, Goro now, P4 out of nowhere after Kajemi's mistake earlier on. Will be very happy with that, I'm sure. Weaving across the line, you can tell he's happy with that. Kajemi, very disappointing race from him. He was looking good up until that mistake there, as Monster Most makes another mistake which drops him down to last. Rick is P6 and Yuppie is going to come through to take P7. Mahi, a very quiet race from him, however he is looking to take P8 in the race, which will net him 4 points in the championship. And Kronk in the Racing Point, after some early drama, has struggled to recover in this race and is looking to take P9. Masiek will come through to take the final points paying position in P10. He crosses the line now, and Monster Most, the only finisher to not score in this race, will come through for P11. Unfortunately for him. So penalties didn't actually change anything with the final order. They all spread out too much, and Kronk receives driver of the day. There's your podium 3. Kadir on top in the Alfa Romeo suit. Very nice drive from him today. Very quiet drive from him today. He's not really had too much to do. He made the right call on strategy, and with the virtual safety car going onto the hards until the end, he had quite a comfortable lead for most of the race. Monster Most will pick up the fastest lap. However, I'm not sure if it counts because he finished in P11. So there is your final order. Kadir, Flo, Christian, Goro, Kajemi, Rick, Yuppe, Mahi, Kronk, Masiek, Monster Most, and your non-finishers were Alfam, Sunset Beach Bar, after that huge crash at 130R. Very unfortunate for him. He was looking very good in this race up until that point. Redziak and Pratik round off your non-finishers. Wow, that was a good race. Very exciting to watch, especially the first half. Lots of action going on today. So I'm sure there will be some drivers quite happy with that. There will obviously be some others who are not so happy with that performance today. There was some very unlucky drivers in there. And of course, next week we'll be hoping to have a little bit more than 15 drivers starting the race. Let me know what you guys thought of that down in the comments. I'm sure you all have your opinions on that one. So, later today, actually, in just under an hour at 6 o'clock, will be the broadcast for the ERO F2 race. Make sure you catch that one. Should be a good race. Of course, tomorrow, Sunday, at 6 o'clock, will be the ERO F1 race, and make sure you're watching that. That will be a good race, especially with how good the first race in Australia was. Very dramatic start to the season. So, thank you for joining me in this Japanese Grand Prix. Make sure to check out the other races happening later today and tomorrow. And as always, have a great day.